Welcome to the Nomad You. I'm your host, Madison Raleigh, and I'm here to help you step into the life of your dreams of location independence through helpful tips, stories, and interviews with digital nomads from all backgrounds. I successfully became a digital nomad by the age of 22, and now I'm on a mission to help people travel as often and as freely as they want through being a digital nomad coach and travel influencer. Hello travel lovers, it's Madison Raleigh, and it's been my mission to help you travel more. This is my very first YouTube video and season 2, episode 1 of the Nomad You podcast. Today is the day before the looming TikTok ban. We don't know really what's gonna go on with that. And so I'm taking this as an opportunity to try out new platforms, come back to the podcast, which I really enjoyed creating while I was creating it, and then my bandwidth went out the window. Today we're talking about overcoming adversity to align to your dream life. If you don't know me from TikTok or Instagram, I am a travel content creator on TikTok. I've been creating content for about 2 years now. I have an audience of about 240,000 people that trust me to teach them how to travel more and for less, and that's through sharing deals, sharing tips, sharing any advice I can, and that's not going away. But with this looming TikTok ban, I think a lot of us are like, oh my god, it's over, this wave is over, what do I do? It's very like big and ominous, and it feels probably for a lot of people like this is the end. And I have felt that way, we'll call it like rock bottom, a few times, and I think those moments actually led me to the most amazing things I love about my life now. And so with this TikTok ban, I'm feeling actually very kind of excited. Like it's like nervous, but like really excited, good anticipation energy, because I've had to go through so much that's like, even though yeah, it's like bummer, this is not great, I'm seeing it as like an opportunity. So an opportunity to connect with you guys on different platforms and just letting the universe kind of dictate what's gonna happen. Because this is my first YouTube video, I thought it'd be a great way to really dive into this concept by kind of sharing my personal story, just so maybe while you're watching you could hopefully relate in some way, or maybe I can share something with you that you might not have thought before. And by no means am I the template. We all live very, very different lives, but I do think there's some commonalities that I'm going to talk about that I think we can all apply into our life in order to live a more aligned life to what we desire and our purpose. I have like a whole list that I curated, so let's get into it. Let's start at my quote-unquote beginning. We'll keep it really, really brief, but I am from a smaller community. I wouldn't even call it small, it's more rural if anything, so it feels really small, of Flagstaff, Arizona. And I always kind of felt this sense of like not fitting, which everyone does when they're growing up, not fitting in, not really feeling like this spot was for me, and always just kind of seeking elsewhere, always looking like, okay, well when I go to college, or I'm gonna go study abroad like my cousins did. And I always matched that with some sort of plan. I've always been very type A. I always like, let's check every single box, let's do everything we possibly can to get to my exact goal. And that carried forward to college. I did study abroad. I then went on to get a degree, a very prestigious degree in management information systems. I was one of 7 women to graduate with that degree. I was the first woman in as an intern, like the IT department. So I was just really leaning in and excited about being that corporate baddie. And my dream, which I achieved, was making it into big tech. And I did. And with that, I also had a significant other of like 5 years. I got an apartment in Santa Monica, checking every single box that I thought I wanted to myself, but it also was kind of more traditional path. Things just started completely not going to plan. And as a type A person with diagnosable anxiety, it was so much, like everything was just, it felt like my world was shattering. COVID happened in 2020. That was the year I was supposed to graduate. I had a perfectly decorated pink cap. I didn't get to go into this office that I interviewed for, that I was like, oh my god, this is so me. My career started from my apartment in Santa Monica, making cold calls to Fortune 500 CEOs just to be told to F off. I thought I had this dream job and I hated it. And then my ex and I of 5 years broke up. And it was right before we were supposed to move in together. And so I'm just like, I'm homeless, I'm relationshipless, I did have a job, but I was not happy. And that kind of it was my first rock bottom. It was like kind of that wake-up call of like, something needs to change, something's not feeling right. And I had been watching all of these creators on TikTok. I even think I saw something on the news about these digital nomads, people that travel full time. And I'm like, well, I'm literally working from my laptop. Who cares if I'm in Santa Monica? Because I literally didn't have a lease and I didn't know what to do. For 5 months, I decided to put it all in a storage unit and travel full time. And I did that, but at a very excessive rate. I was going week by week to different places and I was lost. One of the things that really launched me into what is now my life, and it was not what I wanted. I was like curious about the digital nomad stuff, but I wasn't, it was not what I saw for myself. But you know what, like I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm just gonna jump. I think when it comes to being faced with so much adversity, when you feel like your world is crashing in on you, you kind of have this opportunity cost of like, it's gonna pain me much more to stay in this, and that outweighs the fear of jumping into what the next thing will be. And that was my kind of intro to solo traveling, and traveling full-time was the opportunity cost of what I was going through, and also just not frankly having a choice, but also choosing for myself to try out this thing that I've been interested in and go travel and do something that was completely terrifying but amazing. I really did feel like my world was crashing in, but it set me up for kind of what's to come. So I'm traveling full time, but I am going a week at a time in different places. Like I was in Savannah, Georgia for a week, I went to Nashville for a week, I went just like everywhere. Like I just Boston for a week. Like I was just on the go, boom boom boom, playing every single week. And after 5 months of that, I was very burnt out on travel. And so when my friends in LA said that they had a room open in their house, I was like, yes, like I'm going back to Los Angeles, even though I don't really need to be location dependent, it just felt right. So I'm in LA for about a year, and I, while traveling, had fallen in love with Nashville. I think being in LA during the pandemic and the kind of continued pandemic, because LA did not open up at a normal rate, I felt so free there. And I think a lot of people probably had this experience, I felt this way, because then everyone decided to move to Nashville. And again, this was just a jump I felt like I needed to make for myself. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like it felt just so intuitively right. I put all my stuff into a U-Haul. I drive to Flagstaff because that's on the way to Nashville. And funny enough, I go down to Sedona to meet up with a travel creator that I'd been following. I'm in Costa Rica and someone is like literally hammering something with a coconut or trying to open a coconut, I don't know. But Sedona is supposed to be this like very energetically charged place, a place, great place for manifesting, before I even really knew what manifesting was. On the way there, I get stuck in traffic. If you know Sedona, you kind of know that there's like only one way in and out, and it's very trafficy. And so I was stuck in traffic, and I was like, well, I'm sitting in traffic. And one thing that my friends kept asking me over and over again was, how do I find like these cheap flights? Because I had recently gone to like Italy for $300 round trip, and they were like, how are you paying for this all? So I decided, I was like, you know what, let me just like make a video and then I can send it to them. So I made the video about Pomelo Travel, which is travel newsletter alerts, and I will definitely dig into that on another video. I made that video and I was in Sedona. I had this amazing conversation with a travel creator literally the next day, and I can't make this up, the day that I am moving to Nashville. Day I'm getting in the car with my mom and we're gonna road trip it all the way there. I wake up to a 1M notification on TikTok. I just remember I freaked out. But then to realize it was a video where I was sharing value about travel and travel content, that was it was so weird. And it was so weird because I was literally leaving LA. I was leaving influencer capital, if you will, and driving to Nashville and kind of leaning into my intuition on where I needed to be. And literally the day I'm supposed to be leaving, this happens. And I got my first 30,000 followers, and it really was like what made me decide to start taking content creation seriously. I hate when people say that, because it's like, if you're creating content, you're like, I'm taking it seriously. But really be consistent and like realize who I was serving, what I wanted to do with my platform that I was given, and that is help people travel more. So that was the day that I aligned with my purpose. And I think the lesson from that is really trusting your intuition and taking those jumps, even though they might be scary. Like, I just knew I had to move to Nashville. I didn't know anyone there. I literally just was like, I need to go. I need to go. And the fact that, like, as I start taking that action, things start aligning a little bit more to my purpose. Things started really taking shape. So really it's just like trusting. What I think we can all learn is just trusting your intuition, having faith when you don't know. The unknown is the scariest part. There's always gonna be something that when one door closes, another will open. And in that case, I closed a door on LA, and I think the life that I saw for myself and wanted to live. So fast forward, I'm a little over 6 months into living in Nashville, and I get laid off. There was like a huge tech layoff situation that happened in 2023. And I got laid off. I didn't have any financial backup or anything like that. And so girl started racking up some debt. I started working at a brewery. Meanwhile, I'm still making the content that I love to make. That's around when ChatGPT comes out. The guy I was seeing at the time and I were trying to plan a Europe vacation together. And basically I was like, let's just see like how much we can like save, like, and see like what ChatGPT can, if it can do it like an itinerary or help with like budgeting or anything like that. So I write a prompt and it spit back like really interesting stuff, and I share that to TikTok. And you might remember that video because it landed me in the news. It got me on Ryan Seacrest, and I have never felt more imposter syndrome in my life, because I was jobless. I was going in major debt. I was working at a brewery. Yet I'm getting interviewed by news outlets. I'm getting interviewed by Ryan Seacrest. People are like, my TikTok account is growing, but I'm not making a dime off of it yet. And then also I was with a partner at the time who was reflecting to me what I was projecting out. So it was not very healthy. And so I was just kind of going through it in a lot of different places. And I think what I was projecting of like also was reflected back to me a lot through that relationship. That was my, what I'll call my second rock bottom, was being unemployed in a relationship that didn't serve me, feeling complete, utter imposter syndrome, when I should have been feeling nothing but joy and excitement about how my platform was taking off. I only could think about how financially insecure I was and insecure in my relationship. So what did we learn from second rock bottom? I wish there was only one. I wish we had no rock bottoms. I was applying for jobs like nobody's business. I posted on LinkedIn being like, hey, looking for something. This is kind of what I'm looking for. Let me know if you find anything. Someone I had connected with on LinkedIn back in 2020, back when we were all starting our careers and it was all virtual. So we were like, okay, I guess let's take to LinkedIn and make friends that are doing the same thing. That person messages me and being like, hey, I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but we're looking for someone for this role. I look at the role, it's a global content marketer for a software company, a business-to-business software company, which is what I've been working in my whole career. I look even further and they have this work when and where you want policy, AKA, as long as you get the work done, as long as you make the meetings, go work. Literally the webpage said like, go work in Thailand for a week, we don't care. It was paying more than I'd ever made, and it just felt so aligned. But oh my God, it was the longest. It was a 2-month interview process. And just when I thought I was like close to the end, they were like, nope, you have other stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, when is this gonna end? A week before we go on that 2-week ChatGPT vacation, yes, we went on it, I get the call that I got the job. And I just remember I was so excited, but they didn't want to start me until after I got back from my 2-week vacation, which that wasn't starting for another week. So I basically 3 weeks where I am severely in debt, but we're going on this vacation together. We already paid for a lot of it. Like, I just had to figure it out. And then basically I would start the next day. It was remote, so it was completely fine. I was like, okay, first day, you usually just fill out a lot of forms and then whatever. We go on this European vacation. We were really at the end of this relationship. It was not healthy. We were not putting up with each other. I get broken up with 20 minutes into the 9-hour flight to Europe. But I'm so like financially insecure at that point. I'm like, I don't have the money to go book another hotel. So like, we just kind of got to ride this one out. So we did. We spent two weeks in Europe as exes. So heartbreaking and surreal. And I felt very devastated, felt very depressed at the time. It was definitely like a continuation of the rock bottom, it felt like at the time. But then I'm in Europe and my now boss calls me and she's like, actually, could you come to New York for your first day? And mind you, I'm starting the next day after I get back from Europe. And I was like, sure. And so what do I do after I get back from Europe? I turn around. I had no time to mope. I had to get on a plane to New York to start what is the most aligned job I have had, working with the most amazing people. Similar to what happened with my first rock bottom, there was space that needed to be cleared. And this is something that I really think with this TikTok ban, this is why I'm very hopeful and like feeling really good about it, even though it's, I think for a lot of people it seems very doom and gloom. With both times I hit rock bottom, both times I lost something very, very big. It cleared space for something that was so much better and so much more aligned. In the coming months, I grew my channel past 100,000 followers. I became known as the girl that covers Travel Tuesday. And then to kick off 2024, I went on this trip to Costa Rica, where I am now. And that's where I kind of realized, you know, Nashville served its purpose. I found the most amazing friends. I learned incredible lessons, but kind of a similar thing to LA. I felt like I was being complacent. I felt like it wasn't serving me anymore. I didn't know where it was gonna serve me yet. And it kind of came to me here that I needed to travel again full time, but do it differently. And that's what I've been doing. So for the last 6 months, I ended my lease in Nashville. I took you all on that journey over TikTok, but I was able to transition to that full-time travel lifestyle. I spent 3 months in Europe, got to meet up with another creator friend, Shelby, and also my best friend from Nashville met up with us in Greece, and then she met up with me in Portugal, and it really showed me how much I really value my people and my community. Even if I'm traveling, my community is very important to me, and that kind of carries over with social media. Like, I deeply, deeply care about you guys and want to help and give to you in every way I can. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get soppy. But with that, I decided to spend a month in the United States kind of bopping around to all of my people. And so, you know, I saw my family for the holidays. I went to New York, where I have some really close friends of mine. Also went for a work trip, so I got to see a lot of my coworkers in person, which I love getting the opportunity to do. I went back to Nashville to ring in the new year with my closest friends. And then I decided, you know what, like, I want to kick off this year how I did last year, because I think this place, Santa Teresa, where I am now, gave me so much clarity and helped me get in touch with myself. And so it's crazy that the TikTok ban's happening while I'm here, because I'm like, I need this clarity. Through kind of all of that, because that was a lot to probably digest. Biggest takeaways. If things aren't working out, if things kind of get really dramatic and devastating, that is space that is needing to be cleared for something more beautiful, a better blessing to come into your life. And I strongly believe that because it's happened to me so many times over. So looking at your life, things that are not going right, being like, what can I let go? In that same lane is just following your gut. And that can be really hard to do, but your gut is usually never wrong, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if other people don't understand it. Like a lot of moves I've made in these last couple of years, my friends didn't understand, my family didn't understand. They didn't see the picture because you're the only one with the programming to understand that picture, what you're supposed to be doing, your purpose, where you're supposed to be going. You're the only one that knows that. And so you need to really follow your gut. When you're feeling low, when you feel like something's not right, or you're hitting rock bottom, or you're feeling stuck, that is a really good time for self-reflection and self-growth. And there's growing opportunities, and obviously you're gonna see that well after it's happened, but really analyzing those moments in your life after the fact, but also during, and taking also just extreme ownership over your life of like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of external factors here, but like I am in control of my destiny. Like as much as we like to blame like where we're at in life on people, on things, on certain responsibilities, that's programmed into us, you have free will. And it's a hard lesson to learn because sometimes you have to disappoint people, or you have to draw maybe a harsh boundary, or you have to do something that feels severely uncomfortable and unnatural to you, but that's where we grow, and you only will get better, and things will only get better for you if you trust in yourself and take that leap. So there's a lot there, but I thought this would be a really good way of sharing my story, kind of introducing who I am to you, but also hopefully giving you some things to think about, especially if you're feeling a little bit doom and gloom about TikTok, or just in general, like things aren't going quite right for you. Hopefully this gave you a little hope. Hopefully you could relate to it in some way. And I'm really excited to be on these channels again for the podcast, but for the first time here on YouTube. And I can't wait to continue my mission of helping you guys travel more.